4:30 in the morning. He said, we are sleep-deprived. Energy is the main thing in this ball game for them.
An indicator for the Sun, he said the first quarter as well as the start of the second will be monumental. Then they can go over strategy, but the home team for the Sparks start off with the ball. Raquana Williams in her second game, coming off of the suspension, said she's excited about just being able to be on the floor with her teammates again. Candace Parker tried to thread the needle inside to Nneka, but instead Shakina Strickland comes up with the steal. Stop the top, no good.
You expect LA to try to push tempo as much as possible. Starters well rested. Miscommunication there. I'm coming right back at you.
Saw there Alyssa Thomas starting the transition for the Sun. You'll see that often for this team. Kurt Miller talks highly of how she's able to just push the ball. She's one of the strongest power forwards moving the ball in transition, and compared her to Candace Parker as far as being a playmaker. Raquana Williams doesn't take long to heat up from the outside, knocking down the first three in points of the game.
In Connecticut, late rotating out to her. You can't allow those kind of shots because Raquana will knock them down with great frequency.
Jasmine Thomas tries to answer. Instead, Jonquel Jones cleans up underneath for two, and she is outstanding. She had 2017, she was the most improved and the sixth woman of the year in the previous season. Coach wants more consistency from her, though.
They spent a lot of time on the bench against Vegas, finished with just 7 points, and they still won the game. Says a lot about Connecticut.
Here, Ruffin flat outside, shot no good, and Mary for the Sun. When you have two players with 51 points, that's a good point. Well, let's go to the floor with the third member of our team, Kirsten Watson.
Thanks, Angel. So I caught up with Candace Parker ahead of the game, and, just because they clinched this playoff spot, that does not mean it's time that they get to kind of take a step back. Now the focus is continuing to start strong, but also to use these next 7 games to get everyone back in rhythm with each other to work on their team chemistry. Back to you.
Thanks, Kirsten. Chemistry is a big point. Since they haven't been in the rotation on the floor with one another, some bodies have been injured. AD returns, Maria Vadiva, Masha Vadiva returns from overseas. So now everything's starting to gel for the Sparks at the right time.
It's interesting, before the game, Derek Fisher's focus was much more on getting everyone on the same page than the importance of this ball game in particular.
And a couple turnovers for the Sun in transition. You see the full court pressure from Jasmine Thomas, who is, I would say, one of the top defenders in the league.
And she does a great job. Terrific with the assists as well. Fits perfectly with the talent that they have on Connecticut's team.
And it's a lot on her shoulders, with the Sun being down 3 point guards.
Yeah, she is the only point guard on the roster that's healthy.
3 on the shot clock. Candace Parker passes off to TRP, but that one is short, and Alyssa Thomas comes down with the ball. Jasmine Thomas working the baseline, finds Courtney Williams. And that one doesn't get old. Her shot is so pure.
She's just terrific with the mid-range game. Great elevation, tough to defend because of the quickness and just how high she gets on the release.
Another one that gets high on the release is Chelsea Gray. So both teams trying to establish some type of pace of the game. Nice pass on the inside from Courtney Williams, trying to find Jonquel Jones.
And JJ's life is looking at double teams.
Double teams, triple teams.
Yep, when you become an established star, that's what happens.
Another turnover for the Sparks. Chelsea Gray trying to find Williams. Instead, Courtney Williams rises again, but doesn't find the same results as the previous shot. Early emphasis inside, working for the Sparks, finding Nneka.
Nneka has been open a couple of times. Your teammates haven't quite found her yet. They do it there. She's been terrific in the 2 games prior against Connecticut.
Alyssa Thomas going at Candace Parker.
You mentioned Candace Parker. She has not played this season yet against Connecticut.
Here, Ruffin-Pratt leaking on the inside. Chelsea Gray couldn't find her. You can see the frustration that she has right now with 2 early turnovers for the Sparks.
So far, it hasn't cost them any points, but a tired team in Connecticut coming off the big victory, you want to give them as much as you can early. So far, Connecticut hanging in there very well.
Nice floater on the inside by Jasmine Thomas. And if you're looking at her career stats, they get higher and higher in the point department. As Raquana Williams tries to load up from the outside and can't get that one to fall. Once again, Alyssa Thomas. She's like the one-man band that can rebound, she can score, she can start the transition.
And she's powerful, and she's able to change direction. And she's like, when she gets ahead of steam, she's tough to stop. Great help by Nneka, not enough.
Matchup to Steve, Alyssa Thomas against Candace Parker. She can't get that one to fall, but there is a foul on the backside of Jonquel Jones that will go against Raquana Williams. But let's go back to that engine for the Sun.
Shoots 50% from the floor. Beautiful touch there. Doesn't come in so hard that she creates the charge, but just a great touch. The lefty. 3rd in steals in the WNBA. 9th in rebounds. She does it all.
And the 3 by Jonquel Jones, one of the reasons she's one of the most versatile bigs in this league.
Yeah, but over the last 7 games, she's shooting 19% from 3, just 5 of 27. JJ gets hot from deep. Boy, you got to respond and get out on her.
Short on the shot from Chelsea Gray, but Jasmine Thomas taps it out of bounds, so the Sparks will get the ball on the side after the timeout. So Sun with the 4-point lead that leads to a timeout on the floor. Welcome back. Well, you see Nneka Ogwumike on the bench, just half of the Ogwumike sisters that are able to play together. So when you have the Ogwumike sisters on your team, you're getting a lot of efficiency, Mary.
We look back on what they've done against Connecticut. This year, of course, Chene came to L.A. by way of trade during the preseason, and you look at the numbers. Chene started both those games. That was on May 31st, June 6th at Connecticut, a long time ago. Now Chene coming off the bench with the return from injury by Candace Parker. Boy, she came up big in both those ball games.
Came up big off the bench in the previous game against Indiana as well. After going a stretch, struggling in the offense department, but said she feels great. She's learning the role within the new players on the team. And the Sparks look good with her in the Sparks uniform as Candace Parker with the patent fadeaway.
Yeah, nice job of pulling JJ just far enough away that she can get over the outstretched hand of a 6'6" shot blocker.
Jonquel Jones wants to return the favor and can't. Air ball. He falls into the hands of Chelsea Gray. So you mentioned how tough it is to pass over Jonquel Jones. We've seen it from the jump, and that leads to another 3 by Shakina Strickland.
5 LA turnovers already, and don't let Strickland get it going. A terrific 3-point shooter.
She's 3rd in the league as far as threes made. But Tierra Ruffin-Pratt responds with a bucket of her own. Moving the ball around the perimeter. Strickland with the give and go to Courtney Williams. There is a reset of the shot clock. Jasmine Thomas from the corner. And 3's away for Connecticut. So Kurt Miller told us how important it is to have the energy, but as Tierra Ruffin-Pratt with the contact on the inside finishes.
You know, Angel, we've
both
talked,
sides.
absolutely. We've talked over the course of this season about Tara Ruffin-Pratt, and one of the things that has impressed us so much is how physical she has played this game. Initiating contact, taking contact, and just on the defensive end, one of the best defenders in the league, just really making a statement game after game. She has been a terrific addition this year for the LA Sparks.
Acquired from the Mystics, final runner-up. Has a mentality of winning, excited to contribute to this team that has a roster full of vets that understand what it takes to win. But more than anything, we've seen her grow, not just knowing what she can do defensively, but offensively, Mary.
Confidence, especially shooting the three.
Foul on the floor by the Sparks. A lot of movement on the inside for Connecticut. It's going to go against Elena Beard, which is her first personal foul, as Masha Vadiva comes to the scores table to check in for Candace Parker.
This is where LA will have a definite advantage, and that is the depth of their bench, how rested their starters and their bench is. Third game at home in an 8-day stretch, so they've had good practice, good shoot-arounds with each other, as opposed to a Connecticut team played on Friday and traveled from the East Coast west.
Foul on the floor going against Chiney Ogumake. You see a lot of the offense with the slashing of Alyssa Thomas at the top of the key.
Yeah, just so dynamic over the last 4 games. 15 assists, 7 turnovers.
Strickland lining up again. That one doesn't go. Elena Beard was there, but tripped over her own foot. Alyssa Thomas finds another Thomas. Strickland. And you said, don't let her get going. She's certainly looking for a shot here in the first quarter.
Great footwork, lines it up. Teammates do a nice job of finding her. She makes one. They will keep going to the well.
Tara Ruffin-Pratt almost got another one to fall for, but they're going to wave it off and say that it's on the floor. So Strickland, as hot as she has been on the outside, she may have to take a trip to the bench with her second personal foul, and that's going to happen, and Bria Holmes comes to the floor.
Connecticut averages 7 made threes a ball game. They already have 4, and we're in the first quarter.
Ball movement, Chelsea Gray with the ball late in the shot clock, 2 on the shot clock. That's off the back, but Chiney couldn't quite get it, but her teammate, Masha Vadiva, cleaning up on the other side.
We talked about both of them in the open, and you can see the value already. Great job crashing the boards, keeping it alive.
Very congested on the inside. Sparks fogging up the paint just a bit, knowing John Claude Jones is going to be in there. The results of that are 4 jump ball with Chiney and John Claude Jones, former teammates.
Sid Weiss enters the game. She has started 16 games this year, so up and down this lineup, because of all the injuries and other things that have gone on this year, the ability to start different people in different roles has helped this team grow over the course of this season.
Masha taps it back in to Sid Weiss.
Bria Holmes on the floor for Connecticut.
Done by committee. Sid Weiss outside for 3.
She's not the only team that can shoot some threes. Sid Weiss, one of the best in the WNBA this season. Bria Holmes
Sat out last year due to pregnancy, but she has come back as a force. Saw what she can do in Atlanta, and now contributing on the Connecticut Sun.
Just 25 years old, a very bright future.
Elena Beard working underneath, finds Sid Weiss. Masha trying to put the ball on the floor. You can't get it to go.
Britt Miller has to be happy with the energy. Maybe a little bit of a slow start, but Connecticut has really gotten themselves together.
And mainly because they're shooting 57% from the three-point line and 50% from the field. I would say that's a good day in the office. And a steal by Courtney Williams. Speedy Gonzalez and finishes in transition.
Yeah, nobody's going to catch her. Every starter has scored for Connecticut. Rhea Holmes as well.
Same applies for the Sparks. Shanae trying to work against Alyssa Thomas. It works her magic for the and one.
It's like running into a brick wall. Nice job bouncing off the wall, getting the shot to go, and one.
So the brick wall fouls. And that's going to be her first personal foul as she just reached in right at the end there.
Well, I didn't see much of a foul there, but the Sparks will take it.
Alexis Jones comes on the floor for the Sparks for Kiara Ruffin-Pratt.
Already 7 points off the bench for Los Angeles. Make it 8.
And Mary, you make a great point for a team that's coming in and knowing that they're tired. That rotation for the Sparks has worked in their favor, especially playing at home.
You're not going to feel the impact of that, though, till late in the third, late in the fourth.
9 on the shot clock, about a second difference between game clock. 5. Courtney Williams rises up. And the tip-in by none other than Jonquel Jones.
The beautiful timing to put that back in. Candace Parker getting it going early. Little step back against Jonquel. And then TRP getting it going. But the Sun, 26 first quarter points. Going deep with Strickland. Come on back to the second.
Down to Kirsten Watson, who has a few special guests with her today.
Thanks, Kirsten. Thanks, Angel. I'm here with Danita Johnson, COO and President of the LA Sparks, and also Veronica Peterson, CEO of Timeless Skincare. First, Danita, this is the 5th annual We Are Women event. How did you guys start this? You know what? It was about empowering women in our community, and we're so excited to be celebrating this 5 years in a row. We've done so much work for girls in our community and women in our community, and every year we get to celebrate on days like this. And now you've got it. It's for the women in this community. But how important is it to show a diversity of women in other spaces besides sports to the community? It's huge. You know what? You know, as being the only women's professional team in the state of California, we have to represent, and we know and we take that very seriously. So when it comes to diversity and inclusion, we want to continue to be a leader on that front. And Veronica, with Timeless Skincare, what drew you to wanting to work with the Sparks to promote your brand?
Basically, we're all here about women performing at the highest level and skincare performing at the highest level as well. So truly speaking, we are about less chemicals, high concentration of the active ingredients themselves, and such a pleasure to be here with the Sparks.
Thanks so much for both of you. Back to you.
Great stuff. Thanks so much, Kirsten, and thanks for those two who have done so much for the community. 5 straight years they have celebrated women in LA, and I know for sure I need to thank Veronica because I definitely use that Timeless Skincare. I think we have a few boxes on the way after the game too, Mary.
All for it. Great panel today.
Jonquel Jones at the top of the key, smothering defense by the Sparks. Rhea Holmes still gets the 3 off, and it was nothing but net.
Rhea Holmes in the first 13 games this year averaged 3 points and 18% from 3. The last 15 games, 9 points and 36% from 3. She is really starting to bring it off the bench for the Connecticut Sun.
Mid-range shot no good for the Sparks. It's gone back and forth in this game. Shanae making the most of her minutes. Nice pull down for her. But just like that, another turnover for the Sparks. That's the 7th one at this point.
I'm sure one of the things that Derek Fisher talked about after the end of that first quarter is defensively doing a better job. They have played 9 quarters against Connecticut this season. 26 points by the Connecticut Sun in the first quarter today. The most they have scored in those 9.
The spin move by Alyssa Thomas. Blocked underneath. Trying to get that one over Vadiva and Agumake. Tall pass. Strickland. Almost like a heat check, but instead she is just one of those players that can get it done. Chelsea Gray with the dribbling clinic. Finds Shanae and gets that one to roll in on the other side.
Beautiful move on the drop step, coming with that left handle, teardrop over the rim.
With the poise and patience of Chelsea Gray, even to know where she wanted to go. And Shanae to establish herself from the very beginning. Tough. Shanae rebounding, Shanae shooting, bringing the ball up the floor.
5 points, 4 rebounds already.
Vadiva can't get that one to go over Tuck. And Chelsea Gray has a block foul called against her.
Well, you could see the strength of Morgan Tuck earlier on that play as Vadiva turned and tried to score, just couldn't get to her spot. Gray clearly upset, felt like she was set, and she certainly looked like it.
Mary, and even when establishing yourself, you do have to give the dribbler one move to go, but she had the dribble on the floor, so that's a tight call to make. Strickland on the outside, left alone, and luckily the Sparks come up with the ball in the end.
Does Connecticut look like a tired team to you? They look ready to roll.
And if you're looking at their schedule, you realize if this is tired, you understand what they've been all season. And it's been impressive to watch them. They had an 8-game win streak. They did go on the losing streak, but Miller said it was just being on the road.
They lost 5 straight, but they have had 2 long winning streaks. They're a team that started the day in first, now in second because of the win by Washington.
14-1 at home for the top 4. Very interesting to see how teams have been able to take care of business at home first. No look pass by Sid Weiss, but a scary pick underneath as Nneka Ogwumike crumples holding her face.
Look away if you don't like injuries. The elbow to the head. Completely inadvertent, but certainly makes contact.
You can see Nneka Ogwumike, as tough as she is, mouthing, "I'm good, I'm good, I'm good."
And for many years never wore a mouth guard, and then her mom really insisted, Nneka, you got to start wearing a mouth guard. And if she got hit in the face a couple years ago, started wearing the mouth guard. In a situation like that, you are super happy to have it because she got rocked.
It certainly didn't look pretty.
Everybody in the building looking at it.
But she's good. AB pulls out from the outside and well short on the shot. More than anything, it's just good to see Nneka Ogwumike stays on the floor for her squad, especially for a team that has dealt with injury throughout the season. It's only the second time you've seen this full roster available. On the floor, scuffle, and Nneka Ogwumike right there to scoop it up.
Early help, great rotation.
Going at Jonquil Jones. Nneka draws a foul against Jonquil Jones. That's going to be her first foul.
It's just the unrelenting nature of Nneka Ogwumike. Gets hit on one play, comes right back the next. No fear, goes right at the defense.
Well, if you are a military woman or a veteran, we want to let you know our community supports you. Find your safety zone at LA County and VA. To talk to a veteran service officer, call 1-800 or LA-VET.
There's night. Fewest minutes Nneka had played since June 21st.
Strickland with the pump fake. Jasmine Thomas for the outside three. That's long. Nneka Ogwumike, unbothered, comes down with the rebound. Chelsea with the up and under scoop, and it's good.
Send that one to Sports Center.
Sports Center, and I'm more than sure she was trying to teach that to the kids at the clinic yesterday, because Chelsea Gray putting on a clinic of her own.
Chelsea Gray taking on everybody. Little finger roll. Looks like Iverson. One more time. The up, the under, the challenge. LA within one. In the early going, it was all about the three ball for Connecticut. Jonquel Jones from deep. Jasmine Thomas, left corner. 5 of 8 to start. Sakina Strickland, you know she's going to be in the act. Bria Jones hit one a little later on. Since starting 5 for 8, they have gone 0 for 3. But Strickland at the WNBA All-Star Weekend in Vegas. She won the Mountain Dew three-point contest, and that is no surprise.
Not at all. Right behind Quigley.
Yeah, you beat
Leilani Mitchell.
You beat those two. That's something special.
Early turnover for the Sun. With Chelsea Gray in demand at the top of the key with Candace trying to hold off Strickland. Raquana from deep. Raquana for another three.
And what started that was Nneka's steal. She had 5 steals against Indiana Thursday night.
Getting stops on the defensive end and then offense. Right now, Sparks on a 9-0 run. Chelsea Gray tiptoeing the baseline, trying to save that. Love the effort. Still, a plethora of subs for both teams. TRP comes back in for Sydney Weiss, and Morgan Tuck takes the trip back to the bench.
It's so much fun to watch how much these Sparks players talk to each other over the course of a ball game.
Wow, that's nice. First bucket for the Sun in 4.5 minutes. For Jonquel Jones does in fashion.
She played just 26 minutes because of the foul trouble on Friday night. Alyssa Thomas played 40 minutes. She kept looking over and seeing Morgan Tuck checking in and thinking she was coming out. Didn't happen.
The flip underneath for the vet, Candace Parker, for 2. And then the answer by Jasmine Thomas, fearless. I mean, from one Thomas to another, both of them, head of steam, can finish so well in the paint.
Quick step.
So trading buckets isn't going to help for the Sparks. A timeout is called on the floor.
Candace Parker back on the floor, doing Candace things. Little ball fake, attack Alyssa Thomas, late rotation, backboard in the rim, helping out, find some open space. It's a close one here in LA. Jonquel Jones, one of the go-tos for Connecticut, starting off well. Friday night against Vegas, 7 points, struggled with playing time because of foul trouble, but 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 block shots, and a steal against Las Vegas. Angel, it doesn't matter. She has an impact on every game in so many different areas.
Just looking and assessing her shot even. Doesn't take her time to get it off. In rhythm, soft, release. Very effortless. Definitely has a gift. Corner 3 for Tiara Ruffenbrat. Hits the back iron. And Alyssa Thomas, of course, leading the transition for Connecticut. Jonquel Jones going against Candace Parker. Raquana tries to dive in. defense by Raquana Williams, doing a little bit of both.
Yeah, Raquana's aggressiveness to the ball is what created that contact by Jasmine Thomas.
And then the dig underneath on Jonquel Jones, too, to get her to pass the ball out, feeling that pressure from two players. Chelsea Gray can free herself up for her own shot, finds Candace Parker. With the spin on the baseline.
And that's how you do that. An unstoppable move to defend. Set it up, set it up. You're shaking your head over there.
There's nothing left to say when Candace Parker does that. What else can you do? Courtney Williams trying to find Alyssa Thomas, but instead, Neko Gumake takes the ball right out of her hands. Candace Parker with one hand. That would have been a beauty if it dropped down.
That wasn't a trap by Neko. That was a smother.
Chelsea Gray close to a steal. That Strickland has the ball on the wing. A lot of interior passing for the Suns. But ultimately, Jonquel Jones, the only player on either side to have double figures, now has 12.
In 15 minutes of play.
It's a lot different from that previous game when she only played 6 minutes in the first half due to foul trouble. See what she can do on the floor. Her presence is so vital for this team.
This is a clinic. Step back. Alyssa Thomas, a great defender, does everything she can. You're worried about the drive, worried about the up and under. It's just too much to get back into that space.
Who would you compare her game to? Like Candace Parker, with that fadeaway is just so nice.
That's like what we talked about Thursday night. All the players, the NBA players she watched as a little kid, she just takes a piece of everybody. Kevin Garnett on the baseline. Antonio McDyess.
And Raquana Williams showing us a little bit of the Gary Payton glove defense against Jasmine Thomas. She's trying to free herself up and instead picks up the charge.
Take away the space. There's nowhere to go.
We often mention how Raquana Williams is so vital for the Sparks offensively, but defensively it's important. But instead, the hook for Candace Parker is called on her, and she just takes a quick jog to the other end of the floor.
I thought they were going to get Alyssa Thomas for the initial bump on the move. There's the bump I thought, and I think the hook was in response to the bump. Caught the second one.
A lot of contact at the top of the key. Sierra Ruffin-Pratt still on the floor as Courtney Williams, baseline shot, no good. And that's of some concern. Derek Fisher throwing his hands in the air as Candace Parker and Neko Gumake. So what we're paying attention to is that top of the screen. It's either the hip contact or the knee to knee.
It sure looked like her hip went hip to hip. And that's what you call a moving screen. You can clearly see the movement by Thomas.
On the shot, you can see her holding her hip a bit. I don't know if you've ever had a hip pointer. Hoping that's not the case. But that contact on your hip is not pleasant.
The entire Los Angeles bench came out. Derek Fisher unhappy.
So there's a lot going on by the scorers table right now. Some exchanges with Sierra Ruffin-Pratt at the table, but I'm not sure what the call was on the floor just yet. So there was a technical foul for Sierra Ruffin-Pratt. who looked upset just at the top of the screen. So there was not a call made, as you said.
Oh, they're showing it to the crowd here. There's a lot of fouls called for moving screens in the WNBA. For a lot less movement than this no call. You cannot go and stick your hip out and your leg out as someone's trying to get over a screen. That's an offensive foul.
So now Tierra Ruffin practicing with Courtney Watson, the team's athletic trainer, heading to the locker room. Hopefully we can get an update from Kirsten Watson on if she will be able to return.
The important thing now for Los Angeles is to get refocused on what is at hand, and that is the ball game. Derek Fisher talked to us about that a couple of games ago when we had our pregame chat, and that was, it's my job to talk to the officials, it's my job to get involved, and it's your job, their job to play.
Nneka Ogwumike all the way to the rim for two. Didn't take much time. Very poised move for Nneka. Alyssa taking on the whole Sparks team. Doesn't get it to fall. Courtney Williams steals the ball. It makes them pay. 9 turnovers for the Sparks. 9 points, for the Sun.
And pass on the outlet. Courtney will make it pay.
The details, just taking care of the ball on the outlet, but Chelsea Gray. Less than a minute in the first half. And it's gone tit for tat.
It sure has. Kurt Miller unhappy on his sideline.
Nneka Ogwumike picks up the foul. That's the first foul for her.
She's got a run's worth on that one.
As far as foul trouble, you're not seeing it from the Sparks. The only person with 2 is Shanae. Nneka went for the steal. Doesn't come up with it. But Alyssa Thomas called on the hold, which prevented Nneka from getting the steal in the first place. So the Sparks do get the ball back.
You can see the right arm of Alyssa Thomas. She feels Nneka coming and is trying to hold her back, almost like a safety in football.
On the shoulders.
It's a good get by the official.
Chelsea Gray calling her own number. And Alyssa Thomas in some trouble in the corner. But a jump ball is called. How about Candace Parker and Raquana Williams? A heads-up play to trap on the baseline. And it's Thomas against Parker. Well, she thought she was going to stand up for Raquana Williams there instead.
Oh, great jump by Raquana Williams. Possession LA. Got to know the shot clock.
Right now it's at 5. Chelsea Gray from deep. Missed long on the right side. And there's a loose ball foul going against Raquana Williams. Her second.
So a game that had such good flow has really ground to a halt. A lot of calls going both ways.
I'm not saying that these fouls haven't been called or right, but both Nneka and a lot of the different players within the league are saying the stoppage of play doesn't help the game. We're wanting to see more of a flow from both sides.
But on the other hand, if there's a foul, you got to call it. Otherwise, things get out of control. So it's a...
Courtney Williams getting her own rebound from the free throw line. The tuck underneath, no good. 7.5. Raquana at Jonquel and gets it to go.
That look like Kawhi Leonard in the NBA playoffs. 6'6", Jonquel Jones in her face.
Put it in a museum. Beautiful shot from the outside, knowing where she was on the floor and didn't care who was defending.
Great defense.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ruling on the floor is that it was a three-pointer and is currently under review.
Thoughts on if she got the shot off in time?
Oh, they're going to take a look at it. I think it's good to go.
Well, while they're trying to figure out if the shot is going to be good, which we see from Derek Fisher that he gets the thumbs up. Kirsten Watson, what you got?
Thanks, Angel. Coach, you guys are up by 3. What's the focus that first half?
I mean, it's just two good teams just kind of battling it out. You can tell that both teams, all players, they want it really, really bad. And not the cleanest half, but we're competing.
You said that you knew that someone was going to come in ready to play this afternoon. What do you want to see more of in the second half?
Well, just taking the competitive spirit that we have and putting a little bit of IQ and purpose to some of the things we're doing. Some of our turnovers are unforced and careless. If we can clean that up, we'll have a chance.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Kirsten. Well, that will do it for the first half with the score 42-39. Sparks, don't go anywhere, though. We'll be back with interviews, highlights, stats, and more after the break. Welcome back to downtown LA. We're about to get the second half started, but before we got to dive into the highlights of the first half, and it was a fun one. Last year, 6th Woman of the Year, showing us how she's thriving in the starting lineup.
6'6", comes off a down screen, knocks down a 3. Now you're a post player, tipping in a miss. Let's go back to being a 2-guard, step out, knock down another one. Back in the post, offensive rebound finish. Immensely talented future superstar, Jonquel Jones. Raquana Williams, 13 minutes, 9 points. 3 of 4 from three-point range. The last one, reminiscent of Kawhi Leonard in the NBA Finals. Falling out of bounds. 6'6", Jonquel Jones, terrific shot blocker in her face. Money. Let's head to the locker room.
Mary, looking at both sides, we entered the game talking about how important the bench presence has been for both sides, and 5 players have played for the Sparks compared to the 2 for the Suns.
Yep, and they've got 10 points off the bench. Just terrific defense in the second quarter by Los Angeles. They forced 6 turnovers and held Connecticut after 26 first quarter points to just 13 in the second.
Well, what a way to finish the first half with the Raquana Williams step back. I do think that resembles a lot of the Kawhi Leonard shot that we saw in the playoffs. They said put that in the museum. I would definitely agree that you might want to get Raquana's there too. Before we get started, let's go down to Kirsten Watson as a TRP update.
Thanks, Angel. So you guys saw that TRP, she kind of got hit and that's on her hip, but she is going to be returning this half. It's a little shaken up, but we expected to see her back on the court. Back to you.
Thanks, Kirsten. So once again, a full roster for the Sparks. And a player that is much needed on this team. The grit, the defense, the aggression on the offensive end. Good sign for them to have her back.
And I'm sure they got some ice on it at halftime and just kind of got it settled down.
Well, that was the first half. Second half, a lot on the line, as we mentioned before. Both teams have clinched a spot in the playoffs, and now either team playing for the series win.
Looking for the tiebreaker. LA with a win would gain a full game on Connecticut in the standings.
Right away, Jonquel Jones, 3 no good, but Alyssa Thomas right there to clean it up.
The ability to invert your offense and take your 6'6" post player outside and your 6'2" point forward inside.
Trap on the wing for Gray to pop the ball up, and Raquana Williams still on fire from that last buzzer beater at halftime.
4 for 5. Double figures, the first one for LA.
Coach said, why is she in the starting lineup? Well, that's how we were before she left. And everything was firing for us offensively. See why. She's a go-to for the Sparks. Courtney with one on the shot clock and a steal at the last second for the Sparks. And that's tapped out of bounds by Alyssa Thomas. Sparks will get it underneath.
Courtney Williams read 24 points on 11 of 20 shooting versus Vegas Friday night. Not having the same results. We're throwing a whole lot of different people on her, and the struggle to score is real.
Short on the outside shot there. Courtney Williams rises up for the mid-range. No good. Brought down by Chelsea Gray.
Just 3 of 10, 6 points so far for Williams.
Interesting to see how equal both teams have played and balanced. Jonquil Jones with 12, Raquana Williams with 12. Only 2 players on both sides with double figures as Nneka Ogwumike inches closer with 8.
Biggest lead of the game for Los Angeles.
Courtney Williams on the inside, going right at Nneka Ogwumike, but will be called for the charge.
Alyssa Thomas is terrific on the spin cycle. Nneka's got a little spin too. The key to all spins, keeping it tight. You get messy on that spin and you're going to get clobbered in a double team.
Some of the best footwork is just not spinning, as we've seen with her and Shanae as well. But Alyssa Thomas said she gets that spin move from LeBron James. So Sparks up 6. Alyssa Thomas with a nice dive and a great find by Courtney Williams.
She's the definition of going downhill.
You mentioned the spin move that has to be tight, but also when you're diving to the basket and in line, that was a straight shot, as you said before. Raquana got bumped on the shot coming off of the screen.
So you understand the urgency. She's doing a great job shooting the 3, so you feel like you've got to get up and over that thing so you don't allow her. If you go behind it, it's money. So you fight over it, and you get the foul doing so.
She held the record, 51 points for the WNBA. She can definitely light it up. It's just not the outside shot that she has. She can get to the basket. She can pass. She can defend. She's a complete package, and it is tough when you have that defensive assignment.
We saw those numbers against Indiana. 10 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block. I love how they play Super Mario music, DJ Malski, because the gamer in Raquana Williams just loves that music.
Personal foul is going to go against the Sparks. Tiara Ruffenpratt picking up her first on the foul point.
Again, trying to get up and over.
Each starter for the Sun have 2 personal fouls. And the only starter for the Sparks with 2 is Raquana Williams.
It's got to be a pleasure for both coaches not to have to deal with extended foul trouble. Just you decide who you want on the floor given the situation.
5 on the shot clock. Ball's at half court for the Sun. 2. Jasmine Thomas rises up. Nothing there. And a defensive stop for the Sparks.
We have seen Connecticut of late having a little bit of trouble getting good shots. Throwing up some desperation.
But even the help on the inside against Alyssa Thomas to get the ball out of her hands, especially for the spin move that you know is going to come. Raquana downhill to up-de-doo, but can't get it to fall. Thomas to Thomas.
Beautiful job taking away the tunnel from Alyssa Thomas on her way down the floor.
Trying to get something going. Strickland.
Finger roll from Strickland.
Nice little baseline work for Strickland. Floater on the Baseline is very nice.
She's got 9.
Candace Parker loading up from the outside. Nothing there. Courtney Williams comes down with the rebound. It's going to be her 5th. Jonquel Jones quickly gets the shot off, but not before she took too many steps. So another turnover for the Sun.
Well, still in the right lane as a shooting guard at 6'6". Jonquel Jones couldn't quite get her footwork right, but you watch her and you just wonder in a year or 2 or 3 just how unbelievable she's going to be.
Chelsea Gray underneath with Jonquel with the ball and the rebound. Alyssa finds Courtney Williams all alone for the 3. Can't get it to fall, but she gets it with the tip in underneath. Finishing inside, Mary. But when you're looking at Jonquel Jones, don't you see that type of versatility moving in the direction for the 4s and the 5s of the league?
For sure, but then we've got some 5s in the league that Kalani Brown, that's not her game, so it's just exciting to see the development of so much talent in so many different directions. Number 1 rebound in the WNBA, Jonquel Jones.
And also leads and blocks, so getting it done on both ends of the floor. I had second guess if I wanted to shoot a layup over Jonquel, that's for sure. 2-point game. Been tied twice. Jonquel. Kind of dangerous, leaving her out there on the outside, playing the numbers, but don't want to see her get hot. Raquana short, and a jump ball underneath between Jasmine Thomas and Nneka Ogwumike. So it's gone back and forth. An entertaining third quarter so far. Sparks up 2. Like the president to talk about the standings, most important games down the stretch. And a new development since the tip of our game, Seattle has clinched, and Los Angeles still seeing if they can win the series against Connecticut with a win here today. But Mary, they go on the road against Las Vegas and Washington to close out their schedule to see if they can also do the same thing with those 2 teams.
Exactly right. So they will head out tomorrow for a 3-game road trip at Washington, Indiana, and at Las Vegas, and then come home for the final 3. And Seattle has clinched with Dallas's loss to Atlanta. Atlanta now won 2 in a row. What a struggle of a season for the Dream after such a great year a year ago.
It was back and forth just like that, especially with Angel McCoughtry being out. She said that she wanted to dress out for her team one last time, so we'll see what that looks like for the Dream.
Not a good toss, so we'll have a do-over.
And that goes to Chelsea Gray. You got to look at even with the teams that have clinched, if there's a foul on the floor, that's going against Strickland. That's going to be her 3rd personal foul. But even what Seattle has been able to do as they clinch today, without 2 of their main stars coming off of a championship and a title, not having Breonna Stewart, not having Sue Bird, going through injuries, but
Dan Hughes' health issues. It's been an amazing year, and the crowds have been fantastic, and different sites for their ball games this year. On the elbow by Alyssa Thomas. When you think about tiebreakers, today will determine the tiebreaker between Connecticut and Los Angeles. That game in Washington on the 27th will determine the tiebreaker as well. And Las Vegas, the team that LA plays 4 times, that'll be determined on the 31st.
Las Vegas, the team that they played 4 times this season right now. They are winning 2-1. As Chelsea Gray steps up to the line.
Free throw. Connecticut. Boy, when a game is this tight, every point counts.
Each time, I don't know about you, Mary, but each time that I look at the scoreboard, even though it says biggest lead 6 for Los Angeles and 7 for Connecticut, it seemed like it's always been a 1-possession game.
Play Thomas on the floor for Connecticut.
Nice help by Alyssa Thomas to get the ball out of Nneka's hands. Tia Ruffin-Pratt short. Alyssa all the way to the rim. A foul is called. And once again, she takes a trip to the free throw line.
Plaisance obtained in the trade with Dallas for their #1 pick, Connecticut's #1 pick, Christina Niguez.
This is actually the first time that Alyssa Thomas has gone to the free throw line, and it's interesting to see, especially with the pace for both teams and how physical it's been, that they really haven't gone to the free throw line much. That's just the 4th free throw for the Sun.
And they're just 1 of 4.
Flip side 100%, 7 for 7 for the Sparks. And Tia Ruffin-Pratt takes a trip to the bench, and Elena Beard comes in for the Sparks. Candace Parker swarms, so finds Chelsea Gray in the corner, and the connection is there.
Connecticut got within 2, and LA takes it right back to 6.
Jasmine Thomas surveying the floor, looking on the inside for Alyssa Thomas, but Alyssa Thomas calls for the offensive foul.
That's her 4th. Kurt Miller really limited as to his options. Rachel Banham out. Lasia Clarendon out. Had surgery. Heidemann out. They expect her back. They expect Banham back. But thin in the backcourt because of injuries for sure.
John Cole Jones with a short break goes back to the scores table. We'll check in on the next dead ball. Elena Beard with the scoop on the inside. Nneka Ogwumike coming out of nowhere. Superwoman indeed.
Ripped it out of the air.
The defense on Alyssa Thomas has been smothering as Elena Beard trying to fight her way out of the jump ball, but instead she does get tied up with Plaisance.
Who wants this rebound? Move, move, move. Never stops. Nneka. No wasted motion. Knows where to go. She knows Plaisance is on her back. The explosion to the bucket. How do you box that out?
How do you describe it? You go up facing the sideline for a monumental rebound, but then you still land looking at the basket. I mean, that's, I don't know how else to say that's just one of the most athletic plays you can see. Jonquel Jones underneath, swarmed by Sparks jerseys.
Swarmed.
But Elena Beard picks up the foul. Second foul for Elena Beard, 3rd team foul.
Again, the biggest lead in the game for LA at 8. Morgan Tuck on the floor for Connecticut.
Courtney Williams finding Tuck on the inside with 2 on the shot clock and gets it to fall. But the shot clock was winding down.
Tuck was huge in the 4th quarter on Friday night against Vegas. 7 points, 2 for 2, 1 for 1 from 3. Got to the free throw line. A huge contribution.
Juana Williams on the inside. Easy bucket, but comes up hobbling.
$16 for Raquana Williams.
Tuck again at Candace Parker, finding Courtney Williams.
Lots of contact.
And immediately, Raquana Williams raised her hand. 3rd foul for Raquana.
So you're worried about the 3, so you fly out, up in the air, comes down in a crowd. Picks up that right foot. Now they're heading towards another double-double.
Gumake. And the crowd, every single person on their feet.
She plays the way the game should be played. Give it everything you got, every possession.
Making something out of nothing. That's Chelsea Gray finding Nneka for the dive, going straight at Jonquel Jones, the #1 blocker in the WBA.
Just the vision, the peripheral vision by Gray. Here comes Nneka. Where do I give her the ball? How do I give her the ball? In stride, Nneka takes it and goes.
Coach Nneka getting everything settled in the huddle. We've seen that a lot throughout the season. You always mention consistency, and she's been a consistent voice for this team.
These are two wise basketball minds, aren't they? Elena Beard, all the games that she's played, and Nneka Gumake.
So that's Candace Parker and Nneka, but Chelsea Gray a part of that big three, too. And it's all started with this.
Up and under, as you like to call it. Up to do, step back, create some space. Hang out, be the recipient. You can be the shooting guard a little bit. And we've seen more of that of late, haven't we, from Derek Fisher. Move her off the ball so she doesn't have to work so hard all the time.
Well, she can do that now with bodies back. You had Sydney Meese that stepped up, that was playing in that one position a little bit throughout the season, and Raquana Williams returning allows her to play off of the ball more. And Coach was saying she doesn't have the ball in her hands as much. She doesn't feel like she's pressured to make those plays. Because while we've seen some great passes from her, there were some turnovers that she was really frustrated about picking up throughout the season.
Yeah, she was playing monster minutes, and so her minutes will come down. More energy for the minutes she's on the floor.
Candace Parker guarded by Tuck. Finds Nneka at the top of the key. And Nneka Gumake just getting it.
Looks like she had her special Sunday pancakes because she is playing well on this Sunday here at the Staples Center.
Well, we need the recipe for it to be on the schedule for the rest of the year. Mary, 14 points, 8 rebounds for Nneka Gumake. Took a nasty hit to the face earlier, but I feel like she's just come out better after that. And Shakina Strickland.
Connecticut needed that. Cut the lead back under 10-9.
9 of her points coming from the three-point line. 3 for 6, 4 for 9 from the field. Candace Parker, there's not much she can do about that. Beautiful dish on the inside.
Unselfish, find the better shot.
Coaching the final seconds of this third quarter. Tuck hesitate.
And we talked about the depth of LA starting to wear out this travel-worn Connecticut team. Flying out at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. Yesterday, they come out west.
And it doesn't get easier for them going to Seattle. They do have New York, Dallas, and Chicago. As Elena Beard showing the distance on the shot.
Fourth player off the bench to score for Los Angeles.
Keyword depth. Jonquel Jones, step back. But it is no good. Had a weird tumble on the floor at the end.
LA comes out of halftime up 3, and all they do is add 10 points to the lead. Gray, Tuck trying to do what she can, but Nneka, the freight train coming down the lane. LA up big, heading into the fourth.
The Staples Center. Well, the teammates of Nneka Gumake call her a walking bucket. She has 14 points, only 2 rebounds away from that double-double, Mary.
And what a third quarter she had. Solid first half, spectacular third quarter. Just leading the way with energy, instinct, and just getting after it. Teammates, as always, doing a terrific job of finding her. May have been a walk there, but who cares?
Counts either way. 14 on the board for NECA. Been consistent throughout this year. The July Player of the Month. Putting up MVP numbers. We've seen a lot of different players throughout the league have been very consistent. And it's very interesting, too, as far as a point discussing that, how Phoenix with Griner and Juana Bonner have been surging in the points department. Top two in the league. Five on the shot clock for Candace as she's working her way into the paint. Draws a foul against Morgan Tuck. It's going to be her first personal foul.
I looked at the comments at halftime with Kirsten by Derek Fisher. Love the effort, but I want to see the IQ and the purpose match our effort. Better decision making, be more purposeful. And they certainly showed that in the third quarter.
Personally good for Candace Parker. Mentioned before this game that we are trying to maintain our focus on what's important. That's one game at a time. She said, I'm not going to lie to you and say that we're not looking at, what we can be in the standings, but it starts first with taking care of each game, and we have to win on the road in order to get that 1-2 or have the home court advantage. Courtney Williams doing Courtney Williams things.
4 LA Sparks in double figures now. Raquana with 16, NECA 14, and Chelsea Gray and Candace Parker with 10 apiece.
Candace short on the left-hand shot. Bria Holmes, a lot of 5 out. 4 out, 1 in for the Sun. The extension, that goes off John Quill Jones' fingertips, so it's going to go with the Sparks. John Quill Jones has been quiet in the second half. Great catch. Candace Parker doing everything in her power to get the ball over Morgan Tuck.
Nice defense by Tuck. She really stood her ground well.
Jasmine Thomas in the corner for 3 and gets it to fall. It's her second 3 on the game. 10 points. So it was a third Sun player in double figures.
Their third three-pointer of the half after just being on fire early.
Sid Weiss looks to respond. Count it for Sid Weiss.
Would not want to get in a three-point shooting contest with Sid Weiss. Plenty of time, great balance.
So Mary, it goes back and forth. You think you have to stop Chelsea Gray one game. You have to stop Nneka Ogwumike one game or Candace Parker. And then all these different pieces that have gotten the tick at the beginning of the season start to go off. The balance in what the Sparks are doing offensively makes the opposing team kind of play honest on everyone. AB loses the ball at the top of the key. And quickly in transition, the Sun, Bria Holmes with a nice touch pass to Courtney Williams. Timeout by Derek Fisher, which will also bring Shanae Ogwumike and Raquana Williams back into the ballgame. Derek Fisher just wants to clean a few things up to have a nice finish here in the fourth. Military women or veterans, spark their true you and reach out for help. 24/7 mental health access line is 800-854-7771. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 800-273-TALK. So TALK 8255.
Derek Fisher just trying to get things refocused. We have seen teams come back all across this league all season long.
That's one way to come out of a huddle. Raquana Williams. Intentional shot. Sharp.
Connecticut has won 20 or more games 3 straight years.
foul against Chiney Ogumake. That's her third personal foul. Only other player with 3 personal fouls is Raquana Williams for the Sparks.
Connecticut on quite a run coming in. They've won 4 straight at Phoenix, Seattle, Dallas, and Las Vegas. That's a nice run.
Another foul. It's going to go against the Sparks against Sydney Weiss this go around.
Just a second team foul.
Courtney Williams at the top of the key breaking the trap. This is everything, though, as Morgan Tubb tries to fight on underneath. And Elena Beard holding that left shoulder a bit.
That's her second personal foul. Second team foul.
It's physical in there.
It sure is. Has had some shoulder issues throughout her career.
So as you mentioned before, with Chelsea Gray on the bench, who steps up in that one position, interchangeable offense for Derek Fisher has Sid Weiss at 1 now. Chiney Ogumake trying to force the ball up on the boards, but instead it is called for a jump ball.
And Angel, you watch Jonquel Jones, and she's clapping like they're up 10. I mean, she's fired up and trying to get her teammates on board.
You want to see that in a rising star in this league. Kurt Miller said, we don't have mega stars, but she is well on her way in this league to becoming that with the consistency that he's challenging her to have. So another loose ball foul on a stoppage.
We've talked a lot over the last couple of games about tiebreakers. LA wins today. They'll have the tiebreaker against Connecticut.
Chelsea Gray returns for the Sparks. Elena Beard takes a trip to the bench.
How about the Sun? They've got the tiebreaker against Washington and Las Vegas. That's getting some work done.
They've been solid all year coming into this game, 20-8. So after the travel, Connecticut gets the ball back. Biggest lead for Los Angeles, 15. Courtney Williams is one of those players that's dangerous. As you said before, there is no lead that is safe, especially when you have Alyssa Thomas, who is now checking back into the game or heading to the table. Raquana Williams, Jonquel Jones showed us what she can do. Another whistle on the floor.
And any stoppage at this point is really going to help Connecticut because it's going to give them rest. LA, rest not so much of an issue because of their bench that they have that they can use. So for Kurt Miller, blow that whistle. Slow down that game.
He's not attempting it. So they're just working on a clock issue. Monumental down the stretch. You mentioned just with standings how the next couple of games for the Sparks, they're playing the top 4 teams within the league. So it's so important. Their fate is really in their hands at this point.
And LA will do what Connecticut just did. They have to fly all the way east, and you lose those 3 hours or gain them however you want to put it at Washington on Tuesday night.
I'll be driving to the game against Vegas. That is a very important game for the Sparks. Would you like to come to Vegas with me?
Would love to go to Vegas.
Play some slots, maybe?
Not so much the gamblers.
Me neither. And the penny slots are all I can do.
Easy, Grandma. Move yourself up to the nickels.
Nope. Don't like that too much.
Penny slots. You got to be off the strip for that. Does that exist?
I don't know. Today, with the task of containing Jonquel Jones. Does a good job of doing it. Outside shot, no good for Jasmine. Courtney Williams. Back-to-back buckets for Courtney.
And they've got it under 10 again. Connecticut will not go away.
Raquana outside. Good gracious, Raquana. Well, somebody's got to guard her.
I would like to say bye-bye.
I wish we had just a breakdown of the threes she's had in this game. As Bria Holmes tries to get to the basket, it's knocked out of bounds by the Sparks.
Raquana, 5 of 8 from distance so far in this ball game.
Candace Parker back in the game for Neko Ogwumike, and Morgan Tuck takes a trip to the bench as well, as Alyssa Thomas is in the game. Bria Holmes. Jasmine Thomas outside. Not there. Courtney Williams tried to knock it out of the hands of Shanae, but good luck with that one. A lot of contact from Alyssa Thomas and Candace Parker as Candace was trying to work her way to the screen for Stid. So Alyssa picks up another foul. And that is her 5th foul. So tight game if you want to gamble in which Coach Miller is doing, keeping a star on the floor.
Can't afford to take her out.
Chelsea Gray from deep.
And that was from Redondo Beach.
Well, that was definitely way out there. Bria Holmes finds Alyssa Thomas trying to work her way on the inside. And you can see her take is even different now with the 5 fouls.
Offensive foul, Jonquel Jones. Jonquel Jones and Shanae Ogwumike have been going at it. The former teammates.
3rd foul for Jonquel Jones. And the Sparks keep them coming from the outside.
Oh, pressure release. LA, 9 of 24 from 3.
So foul on the floor. Going against Raquana Williams. Yeah, there's the contact, Mary.
But all the attention that Jonquel Jones gets when she's in the paint, people flying by, jumping all over.
It's been a struggle in the second half for Jonquel. 12 points in the first half, only 2. That's her 3rd point in the second. Adjustments made for the Sparks?
She just demands a whole lot of attention. But 15 points, 12 rebounds on 6 of 10 shooting by Jonquel Jones. Still pretty solid.
Take that stat line any day. Courtney Williams, too, at her 5'9" frame, 7 rebounds. Alyssa Thomas with 9 rebounds. A lot of contact. Jonquel Jones has a matchup on the inside with Shanae. 5 on the shot clock. A lot at the top of the key. Courtney Williams, working some magic and then draws the foul. It's back-to-back fouls for Raquana Williams. And that's a tough one because that's her 5th personal foul. So some foul calls at the end of the 4th quarter. 5 for Thomas, 5 for Williams. Still a lot of action left. Welcome back. Well, it doesn't get any easier for the Sparks as they're trying to see if they can close this one here at home against the number 2 team in the league, the Sun. And it all starts with the Washington Mystics. Goes down to Indiana Fever, Las Vegas Aces, the Dream, and they close out with the Seattle Storm on September 5th. We'll have those two for you on Spectrum Sportsnet. But we talked about the importance of winning series. At the beginning of the season, Chelsea Gray said even, the maturity in this year from last year is understanding how important those series are. And you can see towards the end, when people are trying to make that playoff push for seeding, how important it really is.
That's one of the things that Candace Parker has talked to us a lot about in recent weeks. And this schedule, with this game this afternoon, then you play Washington, Indiana, and then Vegas. They feel like they control their own destiny. You certainly want to stay put in 3 or 4, but if you can make a push for 1 or 2 and get the double bye, wow, really sets you up well for the playoffs.
They know the importance of finishing 1 and 2. That's when they made it to the finals, back-to-back seasons, 17 and 18. 16.
For LA, including today, there are 15 days left in the regular season. 15 days, 7 games including today, 4 at home, 3 on the road.
3 at home left alone and misses everything on the shot. Chelsea Gray demanding the ball right away, and that's one reason why. Chelsea Gray, 12 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds.
So LA has had their entire lineup for 2 games. We saw the performance against Indiana, and then this afternoon, a team that continues to improve, continues to go deep on that bench. 15 points, bench points, great energy.
And a lot of energy from the return of Raquana Williams in that starting lineup, leading all scorers with 21 points. 5 for 8 from the three-point line.
Yeah, twice this year she has hit 5 threes. Against Washington, Mike Tebow, we're talking to you, 5 of 10. And then at Atlanta, 5 of 12.
Doesn't hurt to have her back in the lineup.
One bit. Now see the return of one of the injured Connecticut players. Fisher Heidemann.
We approached the 2-minute mark. Usually players that are injured don't travel, but Coach Kurt Miller hoping to get a few players back as there is a lot of contact underneath on NECA. Already had 1 collision earlier in the game. Pops up after that one, though. She'll step to the line for 2. That was going to go against Bria Holmes, which is her second personal foul.
NECA 6th in the league in points per game, 2nd in rebounding to Jonquel Jones, and 4th in steals. In a league full of fantastic guards who are terrific defenders, NECA Ogwumike is 4th in steals.
Elena Beer takes a trip to the bench as Alexis Jones comes back in for the Sparks. It's important, too, we talk about the rebounds and the scoring, but the efficiency from the free throw line for the Sparks as well, shooting as a team 83%, 3rd in the league, and it comes down to those tight games. You have the trust from your teammates to knock it down.
And it's important because they don't get to the line a whole lot. Only 12 times a game. 12 makes the game at the free throw line.
Candace Parker wanting that charge called underneath, still searching, but instead picks up the second foul.
Nice job of kind of moving away from the contact. Again, I think Derek Fisher can say, Candace, look at the scoreboard. I don't need you stepping up and trying to be a hero and take a charge.
And as that happens, Bria Holmes knocks down the free throw, but Candace Parker, she sees Chelsea Gray doing the same thing, and she said, I'm looking for that charge. She even went to Twitter today and said, every day I go into the game thinking I'm going to pick up that charge. That wasn't it there, Candace. Still searching for it.
She's going to have to go back to Twitter and keep talking. One of the great things I saw on Twitter yesterday was both Nneka and Shanae responding to Andrew Luck's retirement.
Both played with him at Stanford. Hold him in high regard, the #1 pick from another #1 pick.
I like to say at Stanford, Nerd City.
The video that came out with that
was orchestrated by Shanae.
Yep, of course it was. Of course.
Put the whole thing together.
A lot of great things coming together for the league, especially we've seen some moves. I wish we had some replays of some nice shots as Alexis Jones takes a trip to the free throw line. NBA 2K20 will host or have all 12 teams in the league and players included on the game. Now, I don't play games, but when they said that, I will definitely be picking that up with Kalani Brown and Masha Vadiva and Marina Mabry check in. So that will round out the entire bench and team checking in today's game for the Sparks.
It's going to be a big win for LA. With it, they'll move to 18-10, win the season series against Connecticut, taking care of their business on a hot summer afternoon in Los Angeles.
Well, I don't know. Be spoiled in LA. It's nice weather here. You don't like it? It's perfect.
Where'd you grow up?
It's Atlanta. And
So, yeah.
Humidity, bugs.
You're hot at that Dodger game, I'll tell you that. They're playing the Yankees.
Jones. And Maryland players for the Connecticut Sun.
Boy, after that great first quarter where Connecticut scored 26 points, it's been hard to get some consistent offense.
Marion is coming out of halftime and making the adjustments. Marina Mabry, turnover underneath. Courtney Williams tried to find Jones on the dish, but instead was knocked out by the Sparks. They will get it underneath. 34 seconds left in the game.
And after 8 days at home, it is time to pack your bag and head east.
Courtney Williams going at the teeth of the defense and gets it to fall.
Connecticut will get on a plane tomorrow and head to Seattle.
Time ticks down. Coach Fisher said the consistency they found in this stretch, winning at home, Mary, how important that is, especially to have a young group and young players that have the confidence to play in front of such a great crowd every single day or night.
And the challenge for Derek Fisher all year, handle the change. You're a new coach every day, injuries, different things coming up, and you have to put your best team out there every day. The last couple games, you've had everybody getting to know each other. The future very bright as this LA team heads to Washington.
But not before they pick up their 11th straight home win and fixing the to-do list. You can put a check mark for winning the series against Connecticut. We have it against Chicago. Who's next? Washington up on the schedule. And that will be a good one. Most important thing that you saw from the Sparks today.
Well, it was a great team win. They extended this home winning streak. You gain a game on Connecticut, you win the season series. This is a team that's playing well at the most important time of the year.
That indeed. Peaking at the right moment. Well, that was a fun one for Mary Murphy and Kirsten Watson.